The Ainsworths had an unhappy marriage which ended with a decree of judicial separation and an order for alimony and maintenance. That order was set taking into account that she was going to continue to live in their matrimonial home, so the amount payable was somewhat lower. Mr. Ainsworth then created a company, conveyed the house to the company, mortgaged the house to the National Provincial Bank, and fell behind on the payments so that the bank foreclosed on the mortgage and sought possession of the house. Mrs. Ainsworth meanwhile headed off to court, and she obtained an order reversing the conveyance of the house from Mr. Ainsworth to the company, on the basis that it was just a device to defeat the maintenance order. But this couldn't affect the bank's rights under the mortgage, and they still wanted her out. The court had to decide what her rights were. Legally, she had no rights, just a licence to continue living in her husband's house. But what about in equity? Lord Cohen, whose judgment was not the leading judgment, but who, in my view, said it best, said, "It is common ground that the respondent's right to remain in the house is a mere equity, and that her husband's desertion does not confer on her any equitable estate or interest in the house. She could no doubt have obtained from a court of equity an injunction restraining her husband from dealing with the house so as to interfere with her enjoyment thereof, but she would have been successful not because she had any estate or interest in the house, but solely because of her personal right against her husband, arising from her status as his wife." Can you see here the distinction between an equitable estate and a mere equity? An equitable estate would have given her an interest in the land, which she could assert against the bank. A mere equity, on the other hand, gave her a personal right against her husband. The court found that she did not have an equitable estate, merely a personal equity against her husband. Nowadays, the concept of a constructive trust would mean that this case would turn out quite differently, but we learn the case to confirm the distinction between a mere equity, which provides a personal remedy, and an equitable estate, which provides an interest in land.